Thanks, Josh. My wife and I are parents of 3 children, and they're all really quite different. We're now the parents of 6 grandchildren, and they're all really quite different. One of these happens to be Carson, who has Down syndrome. He's now 6 years old. If I were going to describe Carson in words, I would talk about him being a very forgiving individual. He can be disciplined, or something could happen to him, and 2 minutes later that's all forgotten. He'll sit and cuddle to you and so on. He's really very predictable. When he sits down for a meal, he wants his fork and he wants his spoon and he wants his chips with his dip, and he's very predictable what he wants things. He doesn't want his food to touch, all kinds of things. Extremely loyal. He's cautious. And he's very friendly. Quite frankly, he's really very easy to love. I've had the privilege, I guess, to spend my entire professional life in the education business. From a classroom teacher to a counselor, 28 years as a principal, and now the last few years as an adjunct faculty member at UW-Platteville. So I have the advantage, maybe some of you who I got to, before the idea, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, came into play in the Kennedy administration. Students that had any kind of special needs were really just put in a room and isolated from the rest of the student population. Your children have the advantage of what's taken place now, and they'll be given an IEP, and you as a parent will be an active participant in that. You need to know what your rights are, what your responsibilities are, and so on. And I would say to you, from the educator standpoint, ask for help. Don't just be frustrated. It's all right to be frustrated as a parent. You have even more right to be frustrated, perhaps, if you have a child who have some kinds of special needs. But it's all right to be frustrated. And I think you need not only a good partner to help in the raising of your children, but you need a support network perhaps outside of that. So let your teachers and your educators be the kinds of people that can help you. So that's what I'd have to say about where you're at.
Well, I'd like to thank all of you for taking half or more of your Saturday to come out to this. That shows that you really care about someone or many people with Down syndrome, and I think that's really important. And the first thing that, I guess the thing that I would want you to take away for people that you know with Down syndrome is they're a person or they're a kid. So just take away the Down syndrome part. I think I'd probably do more because my child has Down syndrome than I would if she was just a typical kid. I feel like it's my responsibility to give her even more experiences and unique experiences, because she's a unique individual. And so, whereas I come in contact with a lot of parents of children with special needs that feel like they can't go anywhere, can't leave the house, don't know what to do with her, don't take him out because there might be a meltdown or whatever. We kind of do the opposite. Wherever kids are, we're going to be there. We're going to be involved. There's a lot in Madison. You really have a lot in this area because we moved from a different state. You have a lot in this area to really be appreciative of, and a lot of different places to take your kids. We're usually on a Saturday trying to choose from several different things, that we can do. So I would just say, treat your child first like a child. And we've spent the majority of the day talking about all kinds of medical and health issues from, birth to their final decades. And that's a lot to take in. But when you leave here today, spend the rest of the day playing, because first you have, that child, or if they're grown, do, whatever interests them, and just treat them first like a person and, a very important person in your life. And that's been our experience, is just to do, what we can despite all those, negatives that come along with Down syndrome. The things that have been helpful here in Madison are certainly the inclusive environment. Because whether that's part of the law or not, that's not necessarily what's happening everywhere else. So really, try to be an active participant in the schools. As Dave had said, ask for help, and if you get no, that's not necessarily the final answer. Keep, networking and resourcing and finding, you kind of have to be a lawyer, an educator, an administrator, a doctor, as well as a parent, a friend, family member, a lot of different roles to be a parent of someone with Down syndrome. But, definitely don't just assume that they're giving you the perfect thing, and make sure it's right for your child. And then as well as the school, MSCR, be another resource where there's a lot of different, I don't want to haven't been paid to give endorsements, but there's a lot of different places in Madison that have either adaptive recreational programs, for special athletes, or there's just a lot besides Special Olympics. I think some other people are going to talk about here for older students, but if they're, even under 8 years old, there's different things they can be doing to be physically active, make new social relationships besides the people at school, and just being an active part of the community, being out there and in the forefront, and not just necessarily, staying home and all of that.
Well, the one thing is, I'm actually on the board of directors for the Down Syndrome Society right now, and I really want to thank Storm Lynn for getting me here to do this. It has been a real honor, and having my mom here with me too. My mom's been a real blessing for me in my life. I've been treated as a normal child, family, parents, siblings, that's right, sorry. Siblings all had great expectations for me. Took swimming lessons and was swimming by 3.5. I started gymnastics at 4, and I was the top gymnast in the state of Wisconsin for many years. Age 8 through 18, food service aid certificate from MATC, has taken all classes for child care at MATC. And the last thing that I wanted to say is that I know what it's like to have that Down syndrome. Because if it weren't for my mom or for my dad, if they wouldn't have me now, I don't know what I would do. So I want to thank my mom for being here. I know it's hard for my mom, because I do have it. And when I see a kid or a young adult like me, all you have to do is, love your kids.